They stare at the decision like it's a bomb, a simple choice. What to say, where to go, what step to take next. But the moment they try to choose, their mind splits into 1,000 possibilities. If I do this, that could happen. But if I wait, maybe something better will appear. What if I choose wrong and regret it later? And so they do nothing. Welcome to the invisible prison of analysis paralysis, where thinking too much becomes a trap. And the I.N.T.P. who is built to think deeply, carefully, logically, finds themselves stuck, not lazy, not afraid, just frozen by the weight of all the options. A well-known behavioral theory explains that too many choices can actually shut the brain down. This is called choice overload, and it hits reflective minds like the I.N.T.P. the hardest. They want to make the right decision, the smart one, the one that fits their values, future, logic, and hopes all at once. But the world is not made for perfect paths. It's made of messy ones, imperfect ones. And for the I.N.T.P., this feels like trying to play chess on a board that keeps changing. In this episode, we dig deep into the mental storm behind their hesitation. Why do they freeze at the finish line? And how can they escape the loop and finally move forward? Let's step into the maze and find the hidden exit. To the outside world, it might look simple. Just make a choice. Pick one. Go with your gut. But for the I.N.T.P., decisions are rarely simple. Behind every small choice is a complex system. What are the possible outcomes? What will I miss if I choose wrong? How will this affect the long term? What if I regret it and cannot undo it? This is not just overthinking. This is analysis paralysis, when thinking so deeply creates a wall between the I.N.T.P. and the next step. Their brain is wired to scan for accuracy, meaning, and alignment. They do not want to pick the good enough answer. They want the right one, the one that fits perfectly into the future they imagine. But that future keeps shifting. New ideas pop up, new concerns appear, and the longer they think, the more unsure they feel. Psychologists describe this pattern as decision fatigue, when too much internal processing drains emotional energy. And for the I.N.T.P., who values mental precision, this is like trying to paint a picture in a windstorm. They do not want to waste time. They do not want to look foolish. They do not want to live with regret. And so they wait and think and wait some more until the opportunity passes. And they are left not with relief, but with what-ifs and the quiet ache of knowing. They had an idea. They had a path, but they could not walk it, because the weight of the options became heavier than the dream. Inside the I.N.T.P.'s mind, every decision is a living puzzle. It does not matter if it is small, like replying to a message, or big, like choosing a career path. The process begins the same way. Step 1, gather information. Step 2, test every outcome in their mind. Step 3, imagine the consequences of those outcomes. Step 4, circle back to step 1, just in case something was missed. This loop is not laziness. It is intensity. The I.N.T.P. wants to be thoughtful. They want their choice to make sense not just now, but tomorrow and next week and maybe even 10 years from now. They do not trust easy answers. They do not enjoy rushing. Their introverted thinking searches for internal truth, something that clicks. Their extroverted intuition scans the horizon for more options. Together, these forces create a storm of endless possibility. They do not get stuck because they cannot think. They get stuck because they can think too well. Their brain is like a chessboard filled with pieces that keep moving. not because anyone is playing against them, but because they are playing against themselves. A study on decision making once described people like the INTP as internal perfectionists, not because they want praise from others, but because they have a private standard of excellence they must meet before acting, and if they are unsure whether that standard is reached, they wait, not out of fear, but out of respect for the idea itself. But in doing so, they pay a quiet price, a door that closes, a moment that passes, a decision that decides itself simply because they did not. And even though they can explain why they hesitated, it still hurts, because somewhere inside they know thinking was never the problem, moving was. A high school INTP is sitting at their desk, the college application page glowing on the screen. The form is open. The cursor blinks. They've written and erased the same sentence 5 times. Which program should they choose? What if they get accepted and end up hating it? What if they pick the wrong major and regret it for life? So they close the laptop and tell themselves, I'll think about it tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes a missed deadline. And all that's left is a mind full of almosts. Meanwhile, a young INTP professional is offered a promotion at work. It would mean more responsibility, a chance to lead, more freedom to innovate, but also more meetings, more pressure, more unknowns. They think, what if I take it and fail? What if I'm not ready? What if I say no and never get another shot? So they ask for more time and more time until someone else gets it. They smile politely in the meeting when it's announced, but inside their thoughts are chewing through the decision like a machine that won't stop. In relationships, it looks a little different. An INTP feels something strong for someone. They want to express it. Maybe write a message, start a conversation, move things forward. But they wonder, is now the right time? What if I make it weird? What if I mess up what we already have? So they wait and wait until the other person gently drifts away, never knowing what lived in the INTP's quiet heart. Even in creative projects, this pattern repeats. An INTP starts writing a book. Chapter 1 is beautiful, complex, alive. Chapter 2 never comes, because they start thinking, what if chapter 1 wasn't actually that good? What if I get stuck later? What if no one reads it? What if I'm not ready for feedback? So they set it aside, just for now, just until they're ready. That moment never comes. Online, many INTPs share this same silent frustration. One person wrote, I have 10 folders full of unfinished projects. Every time I get close to moving forward, I find something wrong and go back to the drawing board. Another said, people think I don't care, but I care so much I can't move until I know it's right. And it's never right. This is not fear of failure. This is fear of making the wrong success, of climbing the wrong mountain, of choosing the wrong road and looking back with regret. So they stay still, not because they have no path, but because they see too many, and each one calls their name in a different voice. People often misunderstand the INTP's silence. They say, just choose something, or worse, you're overcomplicating it. But what they don't see is what's happening inside. One hidden reason behind the INTP's hesitation is their deep fear of wasting energy. Their mind works like a power source, quiet, focused, and full of potential. But energy is sacred. If they pour it into the wrong thing, they fear they will run out before it truly matters. So they wait, not because they are lazy, but because they want their effort to mean something. Another reason is their craving for mental harmony. The choice must align with logic, with purpose, with possibility. If anything feels off, they will hesitate. They do not want to chase a goal that feels disconnected from who they are. But the world moves quickly, and while they are building the perfect plan in silence, others are moving forward, messy, loud, unsure, but moving, and the I.N.T.P. is left behind. The consequences? Missed opportunities, unfinished dreams, a life filled with projects that stopped at 90%. Even worse, others may start to treat the INTP like they cannot be trusted to act, not because they lack ability, but because they waited too long to show it. And over time, that begins to affect the INTP's own confidence. They start to wonder, maybe I really can't finish things. Maybe I'll never be ready. And that thought, not the choice itself, is what hurts the most. The INTP does not need someone to push them. They need someone to remind them it's okay to move before you have it all figured out, because clarity often comes after action, not before it. So how can they break free from the endless loop of thinking without action? Start with this. Lower the bar for starting. Not the dream, just the first step. If your idea is a masterpiece, your first move can be messy. It does not have to be the best next step. It just has to be a step. Think of it like testing the water with your foot, not diving in head first. One sketch, one sentence, one email. Movement builds momentum. Second, try this mindset shift. Done is a direction, not a trap. Perfection is a moving target, but progress opens doors. According to researchers studying creative thinking, people who practice quick, imperfect decisions are more likely to finish long-term goals than those who aim for flawless results every time. That means the INTP doesn't need to stop thinking. They just need to stop thinking alone. Use a journal. Use voice notes. Talk it through with a safe person. Even hearing your own thoughts out loud can make the mental storm feel smaller. Third, set time limits, not pressure traps. Instead of saying, I'll decide when it's clear, say, I'll make the best decision I can in 20 minutes. The clock becomes your friend. It gives structure to the spiral. And finally, celebrate motion, not perfection. The second you act, you win. Not because it's finished, but because it's started. The INTP mind is a masterpiece. But the world can only experience that masterpiece when it is brave enough to be shared, flaws and all. Let's slow down for a moment. Close your eyes. Imagine standing at a fork in the road. One path says, do it now. The other says, wait until it's perfect. Now imagine an INTP standing there for hours, days, maybe years, staring at both signs thinking, but what if neither is right? This is not laziness. This is not fear. This is the I.N.T.P. mind doing what it does best, protecting, questioning, optimizing. But here's the truth. You don't need the whole map to take one step. You only need one clear moment of courage. And sometimes, courage is just saying, I'll try. The world needs what you think, what you imagine, what you feel. Yes, even if you don't always show it. Because your thoughts, they are galaxies, and your quiet decisions, they build bridges that others don't even see. So if you've been stuck in analysis, just choose one thing. Small, kind, real. That's where motion begins. That's where your brilliance becomes visible. Now before you go, next time on MBTI Secrets, we unlock a door very few dare to open. We'll talk about something deeply hidden, Why INTPs fear emotional dependence. Why do these fiercely independent minds feel so cautious about closeness? What's behind that gentle smile and calm voice when emotions come knocking? And how does that shape their friendships, partnerships, and connection to themselves? We'll go deeper than ever before, with stories, psychology, and that warm insight that makes you feel seen. So stay curious, stay honest, and remember, you are not broken, you are thinking, and sometimes that's the bravest thing a heart can do. See you in the next episode.